All right, happy Friday, Friday feature time. And we have Vanco here. We have Dale Riffenbark with Vanco. It's what? It's Vanco, it's Pulse Audio, Evolution, Beale
Beale
Street,
Street. Yep.
Monster, right? But today we're going to get into commercial audio. And for the next 30 minutes, we'll walk you through the basics of commercial audio, as well as the solutions, strategies, products from Beale Street, as you see, in Pulse Audio that deliver exceptional performance in commercial spaces like your restaurants, retail, corporate spaces, hospitality, and more. We'll go over the sonic performance from Beale Street and their patented technology, their amplifier solutions, and other products that'll fit any commercial space, project size, what have you. So if you have any questions, go ahead and punch them in the Q&A. And we'll go ahead and get started here with Dale. So happy to have you here, Dale.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And we'll go ahead and get started. Talk a little bit about some 70-volt audio, commercial audio today, and how Beale Street and Vanco, play into those solutions. So 70-volt audio, also known as a constant voltage system. Voltage from the amp is going to power all of the speakers, no matter how many speakers they are. It just determines, on the taps of the speakers that these 70-volt speakers are going to have, how much power we're drawing from the amp. So it's not a problem. Makes it pretty simple. Just have to make sure that it's connected right, as with anything we do, really. Can also use a 25-volt amp or 100-volt, depending on what we need it for. But normally 70-volt is right where everybody's going to live. The biggest difference between a 70-volt and an 8-ohm. A 70-volt is going to be mono as opposed to stereo. Just think of your house. You're normally going to have the stereo going on in your home audio, compared to if you're at a restaurant, everything's just coming out of one speaker. Which allows us to have that single amplifier drive multiple speakers, because we're able to divide that power so evenly between the speakers via the taps. Now they can either be wired parallel, daisy chained, or home run, whatever you would like to call it. Again, and then we use those taps on the back of the speakers to make sure that we're, one, not overloading the amp and the speakers, but that all the sound is getting equally dispersed to all of the speakers on the system. Now, some of the advantages of 70-volt over an 8-ohm. 70-volt is going to be used for those commercial applications, or if we are doing an outdoor audio solution, such as a landscape kit. Like you said, 8-ohm is going to be typically in that residential. The biggest benefit for 70-volt, though, is because we do have so much power and we don't need as many features out of the speakers. We're able to have more speakers and longer runs, because we're able to manipulate how much power we are getting out of it. So again, we're going to be using it for background music, public announcements, your restaurants, department stores, any PA announcement type places, all going to be using 70-volt. Now, there are different types of speakers that we have. We do have our Sonic Vortex 70-volt, which I'll get into a little bit, but we also have our architectural 70-volt speakers. Going to be that most cost-effective solution. Simple, hang and bang speakers, gets our background music, still great quality, just does not have some of the same features of those Sonic Vortex speakers. Another good part of these is, with the in-ceiling 70-volt, is we're going to be able to cover a larger area with the sound dispersion compared to a wall-mounted speakers. And then it avoids the obstructions in the room, any furniture. We don't have to worry about anything like that, obviously, because it is in the ceiling. So designing a system. These are the questions that we need to be asking. How many zones? Do we have any mics, any aux inputs? Is there going to be PA announcements? Those are some of the biggest ones that we need to focus on. And that kind of pairs with the right side of the screen here, the type of environment. Is it going to be in that office? Is it going to be in a restaurant? Do we need outdoor? Do we need, what's the ambient noise going to be like? things like that. And then how we determine the amount of speakers, you can see the area dimensions. We do have a little bit of a system that we use to determine how many speakers we need. We don't just make it up, I promise. But yeah, these are all the questions that need to be asked. Because to be honest, when you call me and hey, I have a commercial audio project, these are the same questions that I'm asking. So the quicker we can get that information, the quicker we can get those quotes turned around and bill of materials put together, everything like that. And I'll show a more PDF version of this at the end that can be filled out and submitted right on our website, and it'll come right to us. And this way we can just get the bill of materials and quote right to you a lot quicker. So this is that formula I talked about. How many 70-volt speakers to install. Not expecting you to memorize this. This is more me showing you, so you know that I know kind of what I'm talking about, and you know how I determine those speakers. And I didn't just pull a number out of thin air, because I know sometimes the amount that we're using can be very high, or it can be a small amount of speakers, and we want to make sure that we have enough coverage. But this formula does work for that. And then as far as
doesn't it also depend on the amplification too?
Yeah,
Dale?
yeah, absolutely. All depends on, you know, also what we tap them at. You know, if we want to tap them a lot higher, we don't need as many speakers, because obviously we're pulling a lot more power. So that's all, and that comes back to some of those questions. You know, what's that ambient noise going to be? What's you know, what's the situation? Because if it is a louder place, and you know, say we want the music to be over everybody, we're going to have to tap those speakers a little bit louder, but we may not need as many because we're pulling so much power.
Can you go back to that slide? I'm sorry. I want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 10,000 square foot. Okay. So it's the total square footage of the room divided by ceiling height times 2.
Yep.
Cool.
So and this formula is also on our website under. It'll be under the resources category as well.
No, really good.
Yeah. And then the spacing is the other thing for us to figure out. Obviously, once we figure out how many speakers we have, this is, you know, roughly how we determine spacing. I will say we're probably going to live more in that 1.5 range. It is kind of the general where most projects fall. Usually the easiest. However, we do have, you know, not all environments are created equal, so we do have a couple different options for determining that. So, and that's how we would go about that as well. So, how to wire the speakers? That's a couple different ways we can do it. Single wire runs, not our most recommended way to do it, but we can do it. Now, it will make the system work. The biggest thing with this is if we do it all in one run on one, you know, output or one zone of the amp, we're going to have to tap these speakers so low they're not going to have a lot of juice coming through them, because there are so many speakers on one run and there's only so much power per channel. So something to keep in mind, again, can be done. Smaller projects, very, very recommended, easy to do. If we're doing a larger restaurant, things like that, a couple different zones, we'll do the multiple wire runs, a couple different channels. This way, you know, you can see here, there's only 4 per channel. Okay, great. We know we can tap these a little higher, get a little more juice out of them. Don't need as many speakers also for the project, if that may be the case, because we are able to pull a little bit more power from that. So how to choose the right speakers? That's the biggest question here. The architectural speakers that we talked about a little bit earlier, great speaker. Again, great coverage, very budget friendly, as you can see here, no back box. Again, great for those, you know, budget friendly jobs. We just need background music. We don't need anything crazy. Great. Let's go with some of the architectural speakers. But the biggest benefit to our Beale Street speakers and the sonic vortex technology, as you can see here, if we're using those architectural speakers, you're going to lose some of that sound coming out of the back. Normal architectural speaker or non-backbox speaker is going to lose about 30% of sound out of the back. So we're only getting 70% of our capability coming out of the speaker and being dispersed. And as you can see, there could be a lot of rattling. It can cause rattling, sound bleed through. If we're doing an office building or a multi-dwelling, we can get a lot of sound bleed through into other rooms, other floors, things of that nature. If we use our sonic vortex, this is something that helps with that. As you can see, the sonic vortex here looks a little different than most speakers with those 6 ports on the front. And what it does, it has a built-in enclosure on the back, and we take that port and we wrap it around the speaker and force that sound out of those 6 ports that you see on the front. Now, what that's going to do is give us a greater sound dispersion, deeper, richer bass, so it sounds even better. Even though it is 70 volt, it still sounds a lot better. And so this is the technology here, and the best part about this is it reduces that sound loss out of the back. As you can see, 160-degree sound dispersion. So also what this allows us to do is use less speakers. We're getting more sound out of it. We don't need as many speakers because we're not losing anything out of the back. The biggest thing with our sonic vortex is that it only loses 10% of sound out of the back. So we're getting 90% of that speaker's capability to come out of the front of it and into its intended area, which is great. Makes it great for those commercial applications because we don't have to worry about that sound bleeding through into other offices, into other apartments, whatever the case may be. As you can see, they are a little bit thicker because of that technology, but if you were to put a back box on, an infinite baffle speaker, it's going to be the same size. But we're getting that sound dispersion and don't have to power the speaker anymore because that is just the technology built into the speaker, which is great. So commercial speakers, obviously we talked about a couple of those applications and verticals. As you can see, it does have those taps on the back. This is one of the more important things, to make sure we tap those before they're hung in the ceiling. Because it's going to be very difficult to get to them once they are installed. So just something we need to keep in mind, and we'll help you, project design wise, determine what they need to be tapped to and what we need to be doing. But we do offer them in 4.5 inch, 4 inch, 6.5 inch, and 8 inch as well. In ceiling, in wall, and pendant as well. We can do that. We can do that too. And we can also use these sonic vortex speakers, and we have pendant enclosures, so we can still get all of the sonic vortex technology and make it look like a pendant speaker, so we can get the best of both worlds with that.
And then they also 8 ohm as well, or are they strictly 70 volt, 100 volt? Because on the last slide,
we do have 8 ohm as well. We do have certain ones that can do both, and then we also have ones that are set strictly for 70 volt or for 8 ohm. So it all really depends on what the project is going to call for.
Yep.
So our Beale Basic line, again, those architectural grade, contractor grade speakers, whatever vernacular you want to use, as well as our pendant speakers. So this is what you see here. The good part with our pendant speakers is they can also be doubled as outdoor landscape speakers. We just throw some different kit accessories with it, and we can use them for that as well. These can be 8 ohm or 70 volt as well, which is great. Or we can mix and match. If we have a system using one of our amps, we can kind of determine which channel is 8 ohm, which is 70 volt, which also makes it really nice. We don't have to worry about having separate amps and things like that. We can do it all in one with our BAV series amps, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. Indoor, outdoor, again, that pendant speaker, which is great. You can see the different mounting hardware. We can hang it from the ceiling. We can mount it to the wall. Again, we also have the outdoor kit for it as well, where we just throw a stake with it, so we can put it in the ground. Comes in black and white in 4 and 6.5 inch. Indoor, outdoor rated, so we don't have to worry about it again. And we can mix it with that 70 volt or 8 ohm project. This is what those would look like in the outdoor kit, as well as our outdoor sub that goes with it. These are all in black. I do have the outdoor sub in green as well. The biggest thing with the outdoor sub is it is not burial. That is the only thing. Don't put it in the ground. It will work until it gets moisture in there. So just something to keep in mind if you are thinking about doing that.
Those are 10 inch, right? So those. Oh.
The subs, yes, the subs are 10 inch. Yep. And we do have a SKU that is the kit together. It will come with 4 of those speakers and the outdoor sub, so we don't have to worry. But the only thing we need after that is an amplifier. We do have some outdoor speakers if we're doing, a patio, say at a restaurant, or these are great if you're doing any golf course projects for, an outdoor sitting area. These are great to throw up on the outside of the clubhouse. Again, as you can see, a lot of our stuff can be in that 70 volt or 8 ohm, so we don't have to worry about mixing matching SKUs or doing anything. And they are indoor and outdoor rated, so they're going to last a good amount of time for us and not be as subject to the elements. This is a great chart. This is on our website. I also have hard copies of this that I can get to anybody that needs them. This goes through our commercial speakers, residential amps, commercial amps that we have, our pendant speakers. The biggest thing that, and it goes through our feature set, the main features for each speaker, which is great. The biggest thing to notice is anything with that red S is going to have that sonic vortex technology built into it. So that's something to keep in mind if you're looking for speakers that need that technology. Just make sure you start with that red S, and then we can figure it out from there. Choosing the right amplifier. For our 70 volt projects, we do have 2 amps that we use. We actually just came out with 2 more on the Pulse Audio side of things that I don't have a slide on, but I'll talk a little bit at the end. But the BAV series is going to be the most common amp that we use because of all of its capabilities and being able to go from 8 ohm to 70 volt, things like that. But this is where those taps come into play quite a bit. Our BAV 2500, each channel only has 500 watts to work with. And we want to make sure that we're allowing 20% of headroom. So really that drops us down to about 480 per channel because we don't want to push the amp to its limits. We don't want to blow out a speaker, things like that. So depending on what our ambient noises or decibel range is going to be, this is a great little chart to use to determine what we need to tap those speakers at. Now, obviously, that comes down to how many speakers we have, what kind of speakers we're using, where they're located, ambient noise, things like that. There's a bunch of factors that go into it, but that's what I'm here for, is to help with that. I will say 90% of the time we live in that medium noise to high noise range. So those speakers are going to be tapped anywhere from that 2.5 to 10 watt range. Again, all project dependent, but that's what I'm here for. Use me as a resource to help you plan that out. Types of inputs, depending on what we're using. This is one of our Pulse Audio amps. We do have mic inputs on that. We do have some new pieces coming out, some Beale audio matrices that are going to have some mic inputs and different audio inputs, things like that, digital. So for all of the different sources that we have plugged in. So we're able to still send all of that sound to where we need it to go. Mic input is the biggest one that we see. If you have a mic input, I'd say that's one of the more important things that we need to know, just so we know what equipment to start with. And there's a couple different ways we can send that mic input to our speakers. Choosing the right connections. So we have unbalanced and balanced inputs and outputs. Unbalanced going to be known as the line in and out, line out. Simple to plug in, obviously, as you can see, plug it in, walk away, good to go. Great for your short distance. The biggest issue with this is they're going to be a little more prone to interference, some signal issues potentially. Whereas balanced, as you can see, a little harder to terminate and get going, but a lot more stable, gives us that longer distance. If we are doing larger commercial jobs, that is what we recommend. It's a lot more stable connection. So if that's also something you need help with determining what to use, please use me as a resource. Multi-channel amps, I talked a little bit about these. These are BAV amps. As you can see, we either have a 4-channel or a 2-channel. The best part about this is it can be 70 volt or 8 ohm, so we don't have to worry about it being, say, in a residential setting. We can use it for the 8 ohm and also power the outdoor audio as well. It does have a fully customizable UI, so we can also audio matrix. We can send any source to, or any input to any output, so not a problem, which is great. And any output, again, can be 8 ohm or 70 volt. They don't all have to be the same. This is what that user interface is going to look like. As you can see, there's a lot of different things that you can do. Over here we have our ability to change that from 70 volt to 8 ohm. Our mixers, volume controls, things like that. Our matrixing, the DSP. Over here, a high pass filter, low pass filter can do a lot of different things with these amps. Pulse audio, going to be more of the audio accessory side of things, but this also does have some single channel 70 volt amplifiers as well. If we do need some mic inputs or mic ducking, some of these are going to have them built right into it because they are those single channel amps. They do have a few more features, but it also comes in at that a lot more budget friendly price point for those smaller commercial jobs where the end user wants to keep it friendly. This is perfect for that. We can do it in 40 watts. We can do it in 100 watts. And now we actually just came out with our 6-channel amplifiers in the Pulse audio side of things. So it doesn't have that user interface that we just saw with the BAV, but it's going to have those mic inputs. It's going to have a Bluetooth inputs, and then some obviously hardwired inputs as well. We can do up to 6 zones with that, audio matrixing, any inputs, any output. All the volume controls are right on the front, like you see on this amp down here. And we can do it in 120 watt or 240 watt, depending on what the project calls for. Again, a great tool, and we'll get an updated one out to everyone once we throw those new amps on there as well. But this is a great tool to see which amplifiers we should be using and kind of where we need to start, whether it's commercial or residential on the Beale Street side of things. If we do need that user interface, we're going to always start on that Beale side of things. Want it to be a little more simplified and easier for the end user, and easier for setup for that matter. We can go to that Pulse audio side of things. We do have that ability to do commercial, especially now with the new amps that we have, but we can also do residential as well. If we have a certain zone that needs its own amplifier and they want some volume controls, we can do in-wall amps as well, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So those are great for residential as well as commercial applications. We can throw a Bluetooth amplifier in an office room. You can connect your phone or whatever, play music right through it, and not worry about the audio in the rest of the building. So some solutions and accessories, tile bridges, pre-construction brackets. We do have all of those as well to be paired with our speakers. So if we are using drop ceilings, or if we need the pre-construction brackets, or if we need some extra mounting kits, things like that, we have all of those pieces as well to go with the speakers. And these are those enclosures I was talking about to go with the Sonic Vortex speakers. If you did want to hang them from a ceiling, I know a lot of the restaurants now are doing that open industrial look ceiling. We can still get that Sonic Vortex benefit and be able to have it in a lot cleaner look for all of the customers to see. It looks a lot cleaner. This looks like the speaker. And you'll see these. We also always have these hanging at our booths at Infocom, CEDIA, whatever shows we're doing. Those are normally hanging up so you can get a good look at them as well.
Yeah, so I remember seeing this at CEDIA. So those grills just pop out, right? And then
Yep. So basically, the top of these enclosures are open. You plop the speaker right in there, and you're good to go.
You make the connections through the top of that, or is it?
Yep, right through the top of that. It'll hang down, and it'll look like just like a normal pendant speaker would.
And you can use those for any of the Beale Sonic Vortex.
Yep, any of the Beale Sonic Vortex. So even if we're doing, if we have them hanging for 8 ohm for whatever reason, these will work with that.
Yep. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, not a problem. Just so as you can see, this is what that speaker is going to look like, kind of out in the open. As you can see, it looks just like a normal pendant speaker, but we get that Sonic Vortex. Or if we wanted it, we can also mount it to the side of a building. We have that kit as well. We do have some volume controls if we do need those for certain zones or whatever the case may be. We have that ability as well. We have it in rotary and slider. The good thing with ours is they do give feedback, so you'll actually feel them click. So say you have a couple different zones, but you have everything playing the same audio, but you want it at the same volume, you can say, okay, everybody go to click 5, and everything will be the same volume. There's not one zone playing louder than the other. Pulse audio side of things, some converters, stereo to mono audio converter, something we see pretty often depending on what our inputs are going to be. We do have those solutions as well, digital to analog, things like that. We can make those conversions as well as the some microphone preamps, because of our VAVs not having mic inputs directly. We do have some mic preamps that then we can run into our amplifiers, not a problem. As you can see, this is kind of a desk version, but we do have it in a wall plate as well. And this is more on the mixing side of things, gives us that ability to control the mic as well as the audio that's being played 90% of the time. So they need to make an announcement or somebody needs to use the microphone, we can mix that sound, drop the volume down on the music being played, crank the volume up on the microphone, make their announcement, and then we can put it back to the way it was. So it makes it super easy. If we're doing conference rooms or ballrooms, things like that, for weddings, wedding venues, sometimes we'll see these on the wall, and this way the DJ can plug right into it, or whatever the case may be, make their announcement, and then crank the music back up. And this is what it would look like in a couple different solutions for it. Yeah. So some takeaways from this: don't be afraid of 70 volt. I know there's some formulas that go into it, but don't worry about that. That's what I'm here for. Any projects you may have, hey, I got a 70 volt coming up, we're doing a restaurant, what do I need? We'll figure it out. That's not a problem. We have the solutions to be able to do it all, especially with our new amp solutions. We'll have the speakers that you need, and we can make sure the product hits every point that you need to have for that project. We do have some installation and case studies on our website if you want to take a look to kind of see how other people do it. We do have those as well for you to take a look at. And then this is that questionnaire I was telling you about, a little more in that PDF version. This is right on our website. You can go in and fill this out, submit it. It gets sent over to us. And this way, the next time I reach out to you, if I have all the information that's filled out on here, I can tell you, hey, you need this many speakers. They need to be spaced this far apart. This is the amp we recommend. We're good to go. You don't have to fill it out. You just could even be if you wrote me an email, this is a good template to use to make sure we have all the information. It doesn't have to be filled out, but again, this is kind of what I'm using to determine what we need for whatever project we may be working on. We do have some online training if you want to dive in a little bit further, or if you want to use me as a resource and say, hey, I really want to dive more into those BAV amps. Can we do a 20-minute, half-hour training on just those? We can do that as well. We'll go through the user interface, see how it works, and how to program things like that. We can always do customized training as well. Yeah, that's all I had. Any questions, issues, concerns?
No, really good, Dale. Thank you. And can you cover real quick the project registration? Because I know that
Yes.
our dealers I want to know about that. I know they could save a little bit more by doing that as well.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Project registration. It's a great way. Also, another form on our website that can be filled out. Great way
It's on
to
our vendor page as well. If you go to Vanco or Beale Street's vendor page on 21st Century website, you'll find it right there.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great tool. One, it gives us another chance to look at the project, make sure we're not missing anything. But the biggest thing that's going to come of it is going to be a bigger discount. You're going to be able to then take that discount and have a little bit more competitive bid if the case calls for it, or make a little extra margin. Who doesn't want some extra money in their pocket? There are some steeper discounts. Obviously, the larger the project is, the greater the discount becomes. So the good thing with it as well is we can throw anything on there. If we're doing a 70-volt project, great. But we can also throw, hey, do you also have your TV mounts, your HDMI cables, your volume controls, anything we need, we can throw on there. And obviously, the more we put on there, the bigger discount we can get.
Oh, very good. Yeah, and make sure to check out our website, 21stcenturydisc.com. All of the products are all separated out within Vanco, Evolution, Beale Street, all on there for you. There's promotions every month for these brands, so you want to take a look at that. And also, an added benefit is throughout the year we're offering 3x star point multipliers for all Vanco, Evolution, Beale Street, Monster, Pulse. So you'll get those extra star points throughout the year for shopping at 21st Century. Wanted to thank Dale for joining us today, and Reed with Weave Automation. Congratulations! We got some speakers for you, some Beale Street commercial speakers that we're going to send out to you. So I appreciate you being here, and everybody else. You can find this recording on our virtual conference center, so you can access it anytime. So really appreciate it, Dale. Thank you so much.
No, thank you guys for having me. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out and be glad to help.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.